Hello Inform Scotland followers and friends, it's really nice to be back. I have just literally this minute updated the COVID stats as of yesterday, and I decided that today I'm making the blog really light because I don't see the point in me writing all this stuff down, explaining the graphs when I'm doing it by video. If you're unable, or if you, not unable, but if you prefer to be talked through them, then this is the best way to do it. Also, I've got a baby that I'm going to meet for cuddles, so I'm in a rush. I wanted to let you know, Christine Padgham is having some problems. That's me having some problems with my own personal YouTube channel because I keep getting struck by the YouTube gods for spreading information that YouTube doesn't like. So I'm on a 2-week naughty step sentence for saying things which YouTube doesn't like. And so what happened was that I got a message from somebody about a very grievous thing which had happened to her after receiving medical treatment, a specific type of medical treatment. She's very seriously damaged, and she let me know, and I then was kind of inspired to ask the question of where this all ends, because the damage that's being done in a particular area to people's bodies because of a particular medical treatment, it's quite grievous. And, you know, there's all the evidence backing up that it's there, but groups like, or companies like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter won't allow the information to come out, and people are still lining up for the medical treatment. And then now we're having to have an extra medical treatment for those people because the original medical treatment's now wearing off. And so I was just wondering, you know, where this ends, and it was just a wee 2-minute video on YouTube that got 3-minute video got taken down because YouTube didn't like it. So I am imagining that this channel might get taken down. If that happens, we will form another channel on another platform where we can speak freely. And you will know where that channel is when you go to our website, because I'll let you know on there. It's only a matter of time, folks. And I only deal in the truth. So if I'm on a channel that doesn't like the truth, then that's not good for me. You all understand what I'm saying. So on informscotland.uk, I have put up the latest data. When I saw the case numbers over the last few days, I see that we are turning back up again. So it looks like maybe, I was wondering if our 6th wave of coronavirus was about to start. And if you look at the positive percentage rate, you see an even more pronounced uptick here. I think we are starting our 6th wave. 6 waves of a coronavirus. Never been known before, but here we are. This is just another method of presenting it in graph 3 here. These are days of the week. So you see that there's always a higher percentage on certain days of the week. If you look at this week, the blue, red and yellow dots from this week, you see that they're actually historically very high. Okay, so I don't think that we are coming out of our 5th wave back down to nothing. We're definitely, the signal looks like we're going for a 6th wave. And apparently if you look at the counting threshold, the cycle thresholds for the PCR, they're going back down again. So what that means is people who are testing positive are hosting more virus again, which means that we're probably seeing a true epidemic of something. However, I heard from an English associate that at their hospital yesterday it was announced that they're not going to be using PCR anymore because the PCR can't distinguish between flu and COVID-19. This was what the trust said. So my associate had questioned, could we have trusted the results last year? And they said yes, because there was no flu last year. Anyway, it looks like the test is definitely picking up something now, whatever it is. It's worth remembering as well that in the States, the FDA has just withdrawn emergency authorization for the PCR because he says it's so unreliable. This graph, which I've been adding, the blue or the turquoise trace is tests conducted, and the red dotted line trace is the number of positives. And what you can see is that the number of positives recently has been coming down as the number of tests has been coming down. And what that tells you is the number of positives is very much dependent on the number of tests conducted. As I've said before in these videos, and I'll probably say it again, if you have a true epidemic of something, if you've got people truly getting symptoms of a disease, you will see increased attendance for testing. So you do more tests. But if the tests are picking up things which they shouldn't be, then the more tests you do, the more positives you will find. And of course, I've been talking about this now for 15 months. It was true 15 months ago. It's true now. If you don't correct for false positives, then you will have false positives in your data set. And it makes the data set completely unreliable and means that we're not going to be able to understand very much about this coronavirus pandemic at all, because we have such garbage data. And the garbage data is what I'm reporting here, still a year on. But I'll do it because that's what the government is using to govern us with an iron fist. Here is hospital occupancy and deaths. So blue is hospital occupancy, deaths is yellow, and we see the green line is delayed discharges. So delayed discharges are still very, very high. We're looking at this axis here, we're looking at 50% higher than they were last year at this time. Newly tested individuals are back down to a much more normal level. So this means this testing frenzy that we've been torturing ourselves with is finally coming to an end. And there's more evidence of that here in this graph as well. Blue lines, this is NHS tests, or the red lines, and the blue lines are community tests. And what you can see is that recently we have had an insane amount of testing going on. There's absolutely no value in testing that number of people whatsoever, but fortunately it is starting to come back down. NHS testing, which is the red, is following its sort of normal pattern. Sorry. Then I've put in a graph with it's got like 4 traces on it. The black line is positive tests, the red line is ITU numbers, blue is hospital occupancy, and yellow is deaths. And they're on 2 different axes there, but what you can see is that the number of positives is coming down, and at the same time as that, the ITU occupancy is coming down. It all looks a little bit different to this previous, that was the vaccine wave here, and it's all kind of inverted now. So we're doing so much more testing to find the positive tests and the positive cases that end up in ITU. Deaths are still worryingly high, and they're not coming down fast at all. They're pretty stagnant, in fact, and that is not really good news as we go into winter. Scottish hospital occupancy, blue line, this is with COVID, blue line is 2020 and the red line is 2021, and you can see that our hospital occupancy is certainly much higher, or has been much higher than it was last year. It's starting to come down again, but if you think of this as wave 1 and this is wave 2, you can see that hospital occupancy did come down rather slowly before it went on a surge after the vaccine was rolled out. Now, if we're going to see something similar again, well, the 2 waves actually look quite similar. The second wave, if you like, in 2021 and the second wave in 2020. the parallels are quite similar, quite striking there. Deaths are much higher than they were last year in the summertime, but they're coming down, not as convincingly as we might like, but then we saw that as well here. It was a kind of slow descent, and it looks like the same thing is happening now. Hopefully it's not going to go back up again as we go into winter. IT occupancy is here. This is by region. It's a very noisy graph, but what you can see is that the IT occupancy has been very similar in these last waves in many places as it was in the second and third waves. They're coming back down now. They have been similar, and hopefully they're going to stay down. Hospital occupancy generally, that's not IT occupancy, but just general hospital occupancy, doesn't look quite so favourable. So vaccine proponents would say, well, people aren't getting as sick now as they were before because we've not got as many people in ITU, but then we do have quite a lot of people in hospital, so they might not be getting sick enough to go to ITU, or maybe we're getting better at treating it so they don't end up in ITU. But either way, our hospitals are pretty full of COVID patients, considering we have delivered a vaccine to over 90% of over 18s. Then I've just put in vaccinations. There has been a recent uptick, as we've discussed in previous graphs, in the number of positive cases, and you can see the yellow trace here is first doses, and you can see that there's been a recent little uptick in first doses of vaccine delivered at the same time as we've seen an increase in positive cases. This is absolutely no surprise to anybody who's paying attention, because all around the world we see that cases go up at the same time as the vaccine's rolled out. Apparently, this is because the YouTube answer, the YouTube acceptable answer will be that what happens is people's behaviour changes very significantly as they get vaccinated. And that happens in the same way in every single nation on earth, which is why you see COVID cases going up. But of course, the thing is that the vaccine was delivered so that we could go back to normal. So when people go back to normal, having been vaccinated, the cases go up. And that's the explanation. That's the kosher explanation. That's the correct thinking. This is vaccinations delivered. So we've got blue spikes are first doses and red spikes are second doses. What you can see is that these are all the children being vaccinated. Now, there's been an upsurge in first doses delivered recently as the approval against JCVI advice to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds. And that's been at the same time as we've seen an increase in positive cases. I hope everything I have said here is acceptable and pleasing to the YouTube gods. I'm a little bit cranky today. You might be able to sense that I'm getting a bit frustrated by the nonsense that I see everywhere and the things that I see happening to people. And all I can say is stay tuned, stay sane, stay strong, and do remember I love you and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you.